Hello everyone, welcome to Lighthouse Stamping with Lorraine. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Vancouver, Washington. Thank you for joining me today. Before we get started, the housekeeping notes. All the product I'm using and all the dimensions will be listed below. There's a link to my online store if you wish to purchase any of these products. I would love to have you as a customer. There is my email address if you have any questions or would like to see something made on this channel. There's a link to our Facebook group where you can show your projects, and I also post messages. And finally, remember to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube and help me grow in YouTube world. So we're going to play with Christmas Classics and Joy of Noel today. I'm using elements from both sets, stamp sets. And let me show you what we are making. First, we have our lovely envelope that says Happy Christmas. And then we have this cute card. And it pops up like this. It's a column card. And all of these are raised. I'm going to show you how I raised those. You can see them from the side. They're red. And on the back is a place to sign. So let's get started. First, we're going to do some stamping. Let me grab my stamping mat here. And I have our envelope, and I have a piece of 5 1/4 by 4. Like I said, I'm terrible with dimensions today. I just know this. And we're going to be using Shaded Spruce and Cherry Cobbler today. So our verse for the top is Tidings of Comfort and Joy. And we are going to do that in Cherry Cobbler. Oh, let's grab the right thing. That was the envelope. We'll do the envelope in a minute. And then we're going to I'll leave the Cherry Cobbler open. I'm going to grab some Shaded Spruce, and I've grabbed the little holly leaves. And we'll put a set here. And some over here. And then there is 3 little berries. And if you move them around, I gotta get them situated myself. They sort of fit in the middle like that. But you can place them any direction you want. I'm gonna turn this. Just like that. And then for the envelope, we are going to stamp Christmas in Shaded Spruce. Make sure I'm looking at the right side. Like that. And we're done with the Shaded Spruce. We're going to put it away. And grabbed Happy Christmas. Now, you don't have to say Happy Christmas. That's what's nice about this set. You got Happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, Christmas wishes, happy holidays. You can mix and match and make it any way you want. That's what's really nice. But I decided to do Happy Christmas. And I'm going to go right almost like that. So I'm just above it. I think Shasta's outside my door today. I thought I was going to get away with not getting her in here, but I think I'm going to have to let her in here. Okay. So let me move a few things out of my way here. The things we stamped already, get them moved. So to build this card, excuse me one moment. Come in. Come on. You be quiet. I was right. It is Shasta. Yep, that's your blanket and my jacket. You lay down. And stay out of the blinds, please. Sorry about that. So, let's build the base of our card. You're going to need 2 pieces. This is Shaded Spruce. One is 9.5 by 4 1/4, and the other one is 4 3/4 by 3 1/4. And we need to score those. So on the 9.5 piece, I'm going to use my scoreboard. You can use your trimmer if you'd like. And I'm going to get my measurements to make sure I don't mess up, but you can't really mess this one up too much. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's pretty easy. On the 4 3/4 by 3 1/4 inch side, on the long side, you are going to score this at 3 1/4 and 4 1/4, like that. And that's all the scoring on this card. Do you hear the crying? That's not Shasta. I think this place may get a little crowded today. I'm going to burnish all these. Just one moment. Come on in, Smokey. Come on. Come on. Okay. Now they're both in here. You guys don't terrorize the room, okay? Sorry about that interruption. Okay, so we've just burnished all that there. This one here, before we burnish, you can put it in your trimmer, which I think I am going to just grab my trimmer. Where your score lines are, 1, 2, 3, 4. On the first one here, just put it in your trimmer, or you can just take a thing. And I'm going to take off, I'm going to about right on the edge of this piece here, where the brown is, on my trimmer. And I'm taking off just a smidge. It will help this card close and fold a lot better. So you can do it with a pair of scissors too. Whichever you want. So I'm going to start at the inside piece here and burnish it. And burnish. And burnish. Okay, so what's going to happen is this piece here needs to be glued down this way. So what we have is you have 1 square here. This is your main piece, 1 square, 2 squares, and the piece you're going to glue down. And this is the piece where we cut that small section off. So it's going to go like that. So you just fold it over. And you know I'm a glue girl, so like I said, not too much. You don't want it messing everything up. So you take 2 squares, fold it over, so you have 2 laying on top. Give it a nice little rub. And then we bend it back this way. You have that part. Now, before we move on to putting this piece on, we need to put our DSP on. So we have 1 piece of DSP that is 4 1/4 by 4, and that's going to fit right down here. And then I have 3 pieces of DSP that are 3/4 of an inch by 4, and these are going on these panels right here. So I'm going to slide this one back this way, and I'm going to glue these on. You could do it before you put it together, but this one lays flat, so it's pretty easy to do. Now these are not the same paper. This is a very small piece, and this is the larger pattern. They go well together, but I wanted a larger pattern here and something small on the column. But there's lots of beautiful paper to choose from. And we'll just fold this one back and get this piece on. So that's our column all done. Then we'll put this on. Now when you put this one on, make sure that you are going the right direction, because there's a 1/4 inch difference, and when you put it, if you go that way, you're going to see what's happening. You're going to be over on one side. So you want to make sure you got it going the right way. And if your paper's directional, make sure the directions are going the right direction as well. Center that right in that square. Okay, now we had one more piece of DSP. This is 3/4 by 3, and that's going to go on this panel right here. I'm going to go ahead and glue that one on first. This is the one that's not hard. This is the one you definitely need to hook on before you hook this piece on. Just makes life easier. Now, I'm not printing a panel here on this card. You could, but I'll show you why in a few minutes. Just one moment. They're bored already. They want to leave. Just a moment. Well, at least one wants to leave. And Shasta's going to get in big trouble if she doesn't get out of the blinds. Oh, now she wants to go. There you go. Go. Get your tail out of the way. They have long, fluffy tails. Sorry about that. Okay. Now this one, we're not going to use glue to put this on. We're going to use, you can use Seal Plus or Terran tape. I'm going to use Terran tape. So on this small piece here, we're going to put a piece of Terran tape. I'm going to flip it over on those. This is the wide piece here. And I'm going to put a pair. You could use glue if you wanted. I just find using Terran tape or Seal Plus easier. And I don't have any Seal Plus at the moment. So I'm going to use Terran tape. What I'm going to do, I'm going to show you this first. What we're going to do is we're going to take off. So it's like this. And here's this piece. What we're going to do is we're going to take off that Terran tape. And I'm going to hold it down, push this down. And I'm going to center this up where I want it. And put the Terran tape down and drop it, okay? I'll show you before I do it. Everything lines up then perfectly. So all of these two panels are folded, these two folds are folded in, so you just have the small piece. I'll move this towards me a little bit, put it in my grid, put it in this panel, folds over. And this is about halfway across that. Make sure you're pretty square. That's pretty good. Give it a rub. And now you have that panel. Okay? Now, before we decorate the front, we're going to put the back on because it's just much easier to put the back on now than later. Like I said, this is the same bottle I've been using for 2 weeks. I keep on thinking it's going to run out, but it hasn't yet. Looking at this to make sure I'm going the right direction. So that's the back of our card. Now back on decorating the front. All right, I have a lot of pieces and I have actually cut most of them out. I'm going to show you what I cut out and what I used. Okay. First, I cut this out of Cherry Cobbler. And that's this beautiful piece here. So I've cut that out of Cherry Cobbler. I'm just going to set them off to the side. Then there is the center piece you can cut out. And I did that out of foil, gold foil. We'll copy that in a minute. These two pieces, there's actual 2 dies. Hang on, I'll check those. There's 2 dies here. Oop. They cut these 2 out, and these I did out of distressed gold. There is a pine needles, and I did that out of Shaded Spruce. I did 2 of those. I did 2 holly leaves out of Old Olive. Put these dies back in the bowl. And then I die cut the Noel. Now the Noel I cut out of, this is the Joyful paper with the holly berries on. And then at the back, if you can see this, I mounted that up on real or Cherry Cobbler paper. I wanted depth, but I didn't want anything. I didn't want to be able to see through it. So I went ahead and did Cherry Cobbler. So I cut this once out of the Joyful and 3 times out of Cherry Cobbler. Now I've put the N together and the O, and I've left the L for us to put together. Put together. That doesn't sound very good. But anyhow, they all go together the exact same way. Grab my glue. I'm just going to take one of the L's. It doesn't matter which one. And I don't want much, so I'm just being very, I don't want it sticking to the glue bottle either. Okay, then I'm going to take this one and one of the ones I've already done, the next one, and put it over the top and line it up. Lines up really nicely. More glue, just sandwiching them in here. The next Cherry Cobbler. Now you could use the adhesive strips. I didn't find this very difficult at all. And having glue, you have a little maneuver room. So with the adhesive, you don't have much room to maneuver your. So there we got so far is our L with 3 layers. And finally, we put our Joyful layer on. And then just sit here and make sure he's all lined up. And there's our last letter. Maybe we should put these in the right order. Like that. Noel. Except I have glue all over my fingers, which I need to get off. Okay. The next thing I did make is I made 2 little, I call them ribbon picks. And I made these out of, this is the gold on gold ribbon. I call it gold on ivory. It looks more like ivory to me. And all I did was to cut 2 links. They're, about 4 inches. Took the ends and put a little glue job in there. Just to make 2 little picks like you're making for a flower. And we are going to be using this gold trim in just a few minutes to give us some spikes. So let's start building this card. First thing we're going to put down is I'm going to just squish that down. First thing we're going to put down is this. And it's going to get mounted flat right on top of the Shaded Spruce. This is why I didn't put paper on here, because you had all this to cover that. You really didn't need any paper there. But if you wanted paper, you could. I'm just putting glue on the inside square here. And center this in the middle here. Like that. That looks pretty good. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is, I'm going to set that aside for a moment, is we're going to mount the Noels on our gold. Now, if you use glue on gold, it's going to slide, and if it goes over off of it, it stays there. There's just no way around it. I'm going to use my seal. And we're going to put them on. And we're going to put them on exactly the way. So I'm just taking my seal and running it across here. Now, can you see where the glue is still mounted up in there? You take your pick tool or whatever you have handy. We'll just grab my take your pick tool. Take your pick end. Just come in here with your pick and just pull that back. You can pull it all to the inside and you don't have any glue sticking out of it. Set this here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this up at the top against that line. And that is the N. Do the same thing with the O. It doesn't have much to stick to, so it's just a little bit that comes through the center. Like that one just has a little bit. If I go like that, you could pull the glue right off of your pointy tip there of your tape, your pick. And I'll line this one up. I like that. That way you have no adhesive on your gold paper. And then our E, sorry. once again, I'm going to hold it up so I can see through it. Just make sure there's no adhesive gapping through. I found this the neatest way to do this. You could use adhesive sheets, like I said. I'm lining up with the end, but I'm also lining up with the bottom of this where there's a little line there. And finally the L. Definitely use your silicone mat for this because if you go off, you don't want it all over your desk. Oh, just a little bit down here in the bottom. There we go. Oh, I guess I missed a spot there. And I'm going to line that up about like that. And that gives us our Noel with the raised up with the red. So it's elevated, but there's no, you can't see through it. And I didn't want dimensionals behind it like that. You could use foam to do it, but then you still see the foam. I'm just taking my finger and I'm just pulling that glue off there, right? And it's perfectly fine. Okay. We'll leave that out for a minute. So we have that part done. Now we're going to build the scene, or a bouquet, I should say. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my seal again, and in this corner and this corner, I'm going to start with one corner. I'm just going to put a big blob of seal right there over the leaves and everything. And I'm going to start with one of my picks. I'm going to put the pick in here. Now keep in mind you want to stay inside your card as much as possible. If you're sticking over, it'll bend. And then I'm going to add in one of the old olive ivy leaves. About like that. I'm going to put my gold, one of the gold ones, up across here. So we're still sticking it into that. Now I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to add just a little more adhesive. And put this sort of over the top, but I need to come down a little further. There we go. About like that, okay? Then we're going to come down here and do the bottom exactly the same. Lots of adhesive. We're going to cover it up. No one's going to see it. I'm going to grab my other pick. Make sure I'm still inside the frame of my card. Now this one, we're going to put the olive, or I call it old olive, holly, like that. I'm running just the opposite of that one. I'm going to run this across here. I'm going to stick a little more seal right in the center. I know it's a lot of seal, but it works. And we're going to put this about like that, right into that seal, okay? Now this is going to go up on dimensionals. Now, you don't want dimensionals across this because it's just too bulky already, okay? So we're gonna put dimensionals going this direction. I'm gonna flip it this way so I have it going at the angle I want. Grab out my dimensionals before I get started. So I'm gonna put dimensional going across here. Like that. I'm gonna put one here, but close. Now, this is going to go on like this. And you're actually, these corners are going to touch the foliage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my backs off. Because believe it or not, that is almost as tall as this dimensional. Now I'm going to put a little blob of glue here. And a little blob of glue here. Pull this back over so I can see it. Line this up. It does get centered in here pretty good. Oop. And commit. And I'm pushing down where that glue is. Okay? So far, so good. We're not done yet. I wanted some little sprigs of more gold in here. So I grabbed the trim, and I cut me about just little pieces. I'm not even measuring. They're maybe 2 inches or a little less. I wanted 6. That's 6, yeah. And grab me some glue dots. What we're going to do is put glue dots on this, and we're going to tuck them in here, like this, coming out of the spray. Now you could have probably put them on before, and you might do it before. I don't have a problem doing it after. I'm putting the glue dot on the back of that. And I'm just going in here, and I'm just lifting up what I want to tuck them in and pushing it down. Now keep in mind, you've got to stay inside, but I don't worry about trimming them until I'm done. Okay. But you could lay these in ahead of time if you wanted. I want one. Actually, I'm going to put it over here. Sorry, I'm tucking it in under me to hold it. Using me to hold it. And the glue dot came off. The glue dot is on my hand. I have glue dot on me. Let's just lift this up and stick it in there underneath. And you could add, you know, as many as you wanted. I thought 3 was a good number. And I know it's upside down right now, but always turn your work the way you want it. And I'm going to stick this one, I'm going to stick it down this way. We'll come back and trim those in a minute. And we'll do the next side. And I'm just laying these around because I got a lot of sparkle and I like a good sprig. And so I'm going to stick this one about like that. These are not in the same spot as the first ones. They never will be. They could be close. I'll lift this one up under the little bow here. Like that. And the last one. I'm going to put on this side. And I think we're going to put it, shove him right underneath the gold there, like that. So there's the sprays. Now I'm going to come back. I know this one has to be shortened. This one just a little bit. I'm just going to put him at an angle. He doesn't really need to be shortened. This one needs to be cut at an angle. This one has to be shortened. And this one doesn't need to be shortened, but he does need a nice little angle on him. So that is my beautiful spray of flowers on a beautiful card. Like I said, it's the most time-consuming part of this thing is doing all the die cutting. That's why I did it ahead of time today. So thank you for joining me today. I hope to try this card. I love a tower card like this because it folds flat. I did get this one a little far out. I will fix him so he fits in an envelope. But they do fit in an envelope if you don't get carried away. I don't know if I can fix him right now or not. Nope, I'm gonna have to lift him up. So I will fix him later, but they do fit inside of a card. If you are careful, I was a little carried away there. So I will fix that later, but that is our card today. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you on Wednesday. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Goodbye.